take an oath. This is the new gimmick, the ADC party, where they are doing everything to entrap Peter Obi's destiny for 2027. They are now asking that all participants or all potential participants in the ADC must take an oath that they will, on their life, support whoever emerges as a presidential candidate after the ADC primaries. My question to Peter Obi and, of course, Atiku are this. One, why can't Atiku just accept the fact that it is the turn of the South? And two, why is Obi not seeing this, that this is a trap? Because historically, we know that the only person Atiku has conceded to is his fellow Northerner, Buhari. And that was because Buhari had the backing, the financial muscle of a Tinubu. In 2013, when they held the primaries, when they just newly formed the APC. So my questions really beg for answers. Let me talk about the Atiku matter. Why is Atiku so hell-bent, so determined? Can Atiku not see that everybody wants him to be a kingmaker as against a king that he is trying to make himself? We know that Atiku, age-wise, in terms of everything a leader must have, right now, for Atiku, it might be a little bit late. Maybe in his first 1 year, it might be agile, but when he gets right there into the job and the pressure begins to tell on him, are we sure we will not have another Buhari in Aso Rock or Tinubu? Oh, a Tinubu that promised us that he was going to recharge the lake chart. However, he is not the one recharging himself, every fortnight. The problem I have with the North is that simple. They will do everything to make it so beautiful, so attractive. Then at the winning moment, they strike. And that is why I will now, direct this, my second question, to Obi. I need to know what Obi is thinking about. Because I think everything they are doing in ADC is looking like a game plan. They will go into the primaries and Obi will lose. Obi will not be able to leave because Obi has taken an oath on his life. He has gone into a written agreement. Right? Atiku never went into an agreement when he was in APC. In fact, when it was indeed the turn of the North, Atiku didn't go to agreement. But somehow they want to wrap some embargoes, some form of yoke around the head of Obi. Because this issue of signing agreement is to target Obi's base, the obedience, and of course the Igbos. Everything is more or less looking like a perfect script that will think that the Igbos do not deserve a consensus. Is the ADC, right? Are they not seeing it that Obi is deserving of a consensus? Why must they necessarily keep embarking and hammering on this fact that we will have a primary? If they give Obi based on consensus, first and foremost, it will make ADC more powerful. It will make ADC gain more fan base in the South. And by 2031, Atiku still has a chance to come back. It might be maybe 83 as at then. It might be 84. It doesn't matter. After all, it's the turn of the North. Nobody really cares about competency in Nigeria. What we really care about is this zoning, rotation of power, ethnicity. It is the turn of the north, it's the turn of the south, it's the turn of the Yoruba, it's the turn of the Igbo. That is what we care about. Nobody really. Otherwise, we would have moved for constitutional review that all this tribal sentiment should be what? Should be outlawed. But nobody does. Nobody can. Nobody can say that today we want to remove anything called Fulani. We want to remove anything called Yoruba. We want to. Nobody can have that. No precedent. If the country is not on the trajectory of it being restructured, okay, we cannot have a country that is devoid of tribal sentiment. It is impossible. That tribalism has grown so deep in us, wherein you will see a 5, 6 years old child that will be talking about tribal conversations. So what I'm seeing basically in ADC is, perhaps they feel the Igbos are second fiddles. Perhaps they feel the Igbos are not deserving to get things on the platter. Yes, Atiku doesn't have to make Obi to once again, right, prove himself to him. No, Obi has literally served Atiku for a period of no, I mean for over 6 good years. Why from the days of PDP, right from the days of until then he left for APC, he came back. Obi still went to search for him. Obi still said, Oga, yeah, still Oga. He ran with him in 2019. If the agreement or the oath was one that, okay, if I'm going to step down for you, but you will not do beyond 2027. If that was the oath, right? If that was the oath that they said, take it with your life. In fact, I will include my life, joiner. I will. And I know that there are so many Southerners that will include their life journey that we will be the one that will even chase him out. Unless you, the Atiku, the other party who were, you were part of the agreement, you come out and say that, okay, you know what, Obi, continue. Yes, that should be the conversation here. Right? That should be the conversation. You know what, I'm worried because I am now seeing so many ADC political, offices springing up, most basically in the north, because I haven't really seen their movement in the south. They have not really done much in the south. But the one I've seen in the north, the posters we keep seeing an Atiku El-Rufai, Atiku El-Rufai. We hardly see Obi, though I've seen one in Katsina. But in like about out of 10, I've seen 9 without Obi's picture. What does that tell you? The formation, the plan should kickstart right from the get-go. Right? Obi must not see maybe no, there's nothing like agenda. The Northerners do not joke with power. Above all things, they don't joke with power. They really do not care about women. Because their religion permits them to marry as much as they can. They can marry 4, they can marry 5, they can marry, but you see power, they don't joke with it. And that is where I expect our principal, Peter Obi, to be firm. Yes. I don't know how he's not seeing this, that Atiku somehow is overshadowing him. I don't know how he's not seeing that. I don't know how he's not seeing that in the north, he is not being spoken about enough. Now, primaries, is it going to be conducted this year? How does my principal, Peter Obi, how does he want to be able to coordinate Labour Party and ADC at the same time? Because they need to be structures, right? The North are they are so systematic, right? And so calculative. They know that Obi will not want, because that primaries at the end of the day will be dollarized. Yeah, we are in Nigeria. Obi cannot tell me he went back to Atiku and he still wants to start preaching morality. No, you should go and sit down if that's the case. Then we should just back out of the election. You cannot go back to people like Atiku and El-Rufai and Amechi that we know what their records are, and Obi will not tell me that he doesn't want to pay shishi in primaries. Then he is simply setting himself up to be defeated. And that's why I'm looking at this move. Like this is like a scripted move. Like they've written it like, okay, we're going to go to primaries, but we know that you know the pay shishi. People will go pay shishi go pay, but we might not make it loud. They'll pay, but Atiku will not emerge. But at least your obedient base will not say that okay, you couldn't defeat Atiku. Let's support Atiku like that. And by extension, the North will now grab the power. They will not grab the power. Will Atiku be ready to go into oath that he will not spend more than 4 years? The Atiku that has been running for 32 years. Obi has only run once. Atiku has been running for 32 years to become the president. So you think a man who has been on that journey for 32 years will finally now get that power that he has been longing for? We now think he will just freely say, I will spend 4 years. No, you have to be the biggest joker out there. On the other side, I think the point is, if they ask Obi to take an oath in this agreement, Obi must also tell Atiku, in case I do not win, Atiku, you're gonna go do past one time. If they think that their conversation, their committee, their party will not talk about zoning, tribal conversation, they are a biggest joker, because Nigerians are bigoted. We know this. I used to tell people, I said, Tinubu wouldn't have become the president if he did not use the tribal connotations that he used when he started taking a Milokon, Yoruba Lukon. He wouldn't. He wouldn't have won. Buhari would not have won if he had not used that northern term, not northern tone connotations. Those were the things that made them win. Oh, so you feel that Obi and Atiku now want to go into a coalition? And they think they will just take away trap? No, come on, man. We have to be objective, yeah. I have always said, will you choose a Nigeria where your identity is silenced, or a country where your identity is loudly pronounced? I will choose the latter. Yes, I will choose a country where my Yorubaness is protected. Yes. And I think so many people will, because Nigeria does not have an ideology. Those are the words of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has said, Nigeria is a nation that was built on falsehood. Nigeria is simply just a business venture of the Royal British Company. That Nigeria is a nation that has no spirit of nationhood. You cannot come out and say that I stand for Nigeria for this. This is the idea. What is the ideology? The ideology of Nigeria today is, I know that the North can do many things and get away with it. I know that the Igbos, if they do what the North try to do, they will get prosecuted, and in most cases they will get annihilated. I know that the Southwest Yorubas will rather cower to the North so that they can get their own political gains. And if it will take them to betray the Igbos, they will do it. So you call that a country? A set of confused people who have been, they have been converged together to forcefully live together. And by extension, they cannot seem to get to a point where they say, let us go our separate ways. And the only people who are benefiting from this farce, from this contraption that is meaningless, amorphous, Nigeria are the northern oligarchs. So it is a point that any conversation that Obi wants to have, any southern president wants to have, you must put your interest ahead. Yes, Tinubu went into coalition with with Buhari. He didn't do it based on well, if I eventually get no. Tinubu was very selfish, and that's why I tell you that the North are always scared of him, because they know that he seems to know what he's doing in terms of his tribal interest. Maybe for himself, by the way. They think, this one know how to rile up in old people. Jonathan couldn't rile up the South when they were about to kick him out. Jonathan was forming nationalistic president. Jonathan was forming one Nigerian man. Jonathan didn't want to be tribal. But eventually, no be tribal conversation, no be tribal rhetorics. They use Bhutan comot. Oh, by 2027, you think it's going to be an easy ride? Tinubu has been showing his handwriting with what happened in Lagos yesterday with the else local government elections. We can see how people are celebrating that Igbos did not do this, Igbo did not do that. He did. He did. No, the Yorubas will not try that with the North because they know that the North will protect themselves. Whether in business, whether in politics, they will protect themselves. You can see how so many Buhari aides, former aides, ministers are coming out to say that Tinubu did nothing to make Buhari. It is Buhari and his northern people that made him, that got him that. That if it wasn't for Buhari, Tinubu wouldn't have even thought of smelling the seat of president. That they made him the president today. What? You see, they are not talking about competence. Hmm? Listen to those conversations. They're not saying that this guy is because he's basically incoherent, because he's basically incompetent, because he basically incapable, because he has no. They are bringing rhetorics that now we may come, now we did not Arewa. You see, you can see the very clear narration there. Now we did not make him the president. Now we did not go Komota. The Yorubas cannot think that they are now enjoying. We will take him out. You can see that narration. And Obi must see that too. He must. Yes. Because Atiku will not go into a campaign without bringing the northern agenda. He won't. Atiku will not be the president tomorrow, and you think Atiku will not protect the northern interest? He will. So Obi must also protect the interests of the South. In fact, to be specific, of his people. It is clear. You don't go to you don't go to a motel and you are claiming saints. No, nobody does that. You don't go to a brothel where they carry Ashawo and Olosho, and then you claim that I'm a saint. But you go there almost every day, and people look at you. What are you doing there? You say, I'm going there to preach righteousness. Okay, people, must you enter? He said, no, I needed to sign an agreement that I will not, by any chance, ever end up sleeping with one of those girls. No, you have to be the biggest joker ever. And this is why I keep saying that the northern gimmicks, for me, seems to be working against Obi. But I don't know. It seems there is a perfectly written and played out script that they are doing right now. I won't be surprised in the coming months, and then we end up having that primaries, and Obi accept the result where Erin is being defeated, and he becomes a VP. I won't be surprised. I would refer to this video that I made today. If you are just joining, please kindly like, subscribe, and share. Bye for now.